purpose of this website is to track Trump as the 47th president as he implements the Project 2025 plan. The plan is a 920-page document that's a blueprint by Heritage Foundation, which is a conglomerate of corporations and right-wing think tanks that have provided a blueprint for how our president should implement our American government. It's important to understand, if you look at page 34 of the manual, it says they made something similar and named exactly the same thing, Mandate for Leadership, and they gave it to Ronald Reagan. And in the first year, he implemented 60% of the policy. So it's important to understand this is a powerful organization. Ronald Reagan implemented 60% of their policy, called exactly the same thing, Mandate for Leadership. It's important to understand what that policy was. So this is, of course, a corporate conglomerate. They reversed the fairness doctrine that required that both sides be able to provide side-by-side reporting if you had something called the news. They got rid of that. They deregulated the FCC and made way for a 100% corporate-owned media. Even MSNBC, 100% corporate-owned. This is a corporate conglomerate, and this is what they provided to Ronald Reagan. They also got the trickle-down system where we borrow money and give it to them, the very people that wrote the plan. So their success was amazing with Ronald Reagan, and that was then. And they spent tens of millions of dollars on this plan. So you can bet your bottom dollar it is being implemented, and I'm showing exactly how by pulling out page numbers. So I'll look at one of these and you can see here's the page and here's what they said and here's a summary of what was done, and Trump is following recommendation exactly. So I'd give a little summary, show whether he's doing it right now already, and some information about what he's done to achieve their objective, the Project 2025 objective, right from the pages. It's important to understand that they're a very big, powerful organization and they've been controlling a lot, but they're also very extreme. Look at these words, woke culture warriors, and this starts with deleting the terms sexual orientation, gender identity, DEI, gender, gender equality, gender awareness, gender sensitivity, abortion, reproductive rights, and any term that deprives the Americans of their First Amendment right. That's some weird and extreme stuff to want to go in and remove all the different words that have to do with those things from our government. And they say they want to remove it from every federal rule, agency, contract, grant, regulation, and piece of legislation that exists. That is some very extreme things. They call woke policies and things like that all over the place. So obviously, not only is it right wing, it's just extreme right using this same mega right terminology. I mean, trying to wipe out everything that has to do with gender awareness, and reproductive rights and reproductive health. That's extreme. So what we do is we go through all the issues, and they all will have their own video, but you can just go in and look at an issue and see what they said they want to do, a little bit about what it is, and more information. This one even links over to the actual Schedule F documents, the actual executive order that says we are reinstating Schedule F. So if there was a question as to whether or not Schedule F was really real, there are links to the actual executive orders as well as the lawsuit that says it's not quite legal because it is a congressional law and the president doesn't even have the authority to pass any laws. It's the job of Congress to pass the laws, so he can't just write an executive order that overrides the congressional law. So you might be thinking, well, how can he make an executive order that's just not legal? He also made an executive order to change the 14th Amendment of our Constitution, which is the law of the land, for somebody that can't even pass a law, and he just wanted to pass an executive order. Let me just change that for you, when it takes 2/3 of the state's vote to ratify such a change. The 40-year judge that was appointed by Reagan said, where were the lawyers? He was baffled that any person that passed the bar exam would think it's constitutional. So there's no regard for the Constitution. They, of course, have lawyers and they knew it was not constitutional and they did it anyway. That shows the reckless disregard for the Constitution. Trying to override congressional law shows disregard for American laws and the separation of powers. This is a, roughshod rampage over our government just to change as much policy as they possibly can without regard to cost or impact. Things are done just like this U.S. aid thing. They had this many pages on U.S. aid and all these things that need to be done. He just shut the whole thing down. Not only that, he did it hastily. He said by Friday, you need to leave. Like, here's the news story: leave on Friday. Just abrupt. How would it be if you got a call that says, okay, it's all over, you got to leave on Friday? That is abrupt. You don't treat people like that, and you certainly don't run your whole government like that. I mean, they don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about American laws. They don't care about time frames. They don't care about what obligations they have. We reneged again. We pulled out of the Paris Agreement. We pulled out of the World Health Organization, and everything that this organization had, we have just reneged on our obligation. You cannot trust the American government because soon as the president changes, all bets are off. We have no um, credibility in the whole world anymore. You cannot make an agreement with America because somebody like Trump is going to get elected and they're just going to go and say, nope, immediately starting tomorrow, we're not doing anything. It's all shut off, just knee jerk immediately, and it goes into effect immediately. That is what we're dealing with this Project 2025. And once again, do we really want a conglomerate of corporations and right wing extremists giving a complete blueprint to our president who is then going to completely ignore we the people? I mean, if you had a blueprint from the corporations that says this is exactly how we want the government to run, we're not involved. We're not part of that plan. We didn't build that plan. And last I checked, the Republicans, before they voted, said they weren't voting for this plan. But now it's being implemented by page by page by page, exactly like Ronald Reagan did. And somehow we missed it. And the free press has already missed the boat. This should have been reported before the election. The way it's being reported now is that Ronald Reagan did this and it is real, and we need to look at it instead of, you're overreacting, don't worry about it, ha ha ha, actually laughing at the liberals that were pointing at this and saying they're going to shut down the Department of Education. Look, it's right here, page 351. They're going to shut down and eliminate the department. And you're like, that's ridiculous. That's not going to happen. I mean, we're not voting for that. Trump has called for the dismantling of the education department. Even if it's not successful, he is doing thy bidding of the Project 2025 and not thy bidding of we the people. And it's wrong. Republicans should be mad. If you voted not for Project 2025 and now he's ignoring all of the people, bird flu, everything that's going on, I'm going to ignore it all because I have one objective, and that's to implement Project 2025. And that is all he's doing. Please share. Thank you.